this is Kim, and I'm going to talk about pornography and is especially the question, is pornography a human right? That's a question that came up while I was watching this documentary, a series of documentary called Pornography, The Secret History of Civilization, wherein the entire story of how pornography as we know it today came into being and has evolved throughout the history of human society. And the question came up with regards to some beings in the documentary stating that pornography was like a revelation, a revolution, and pornography was in some way the obvious next step in human evolution. And I had the feeling like during the documentary it was almost as if pornography and the way it evolved throughout history within human society is being seen as something that was inevitable, or something that is just the way it is, and that's in some way normal how we see and experience pornography today. So with regards to those statements that those various people made, that apparently pornography is a liberation, was what some woman said, that when she saw the images of pornography for the first time and she experienced an orgasm based on those pictures and masturbation, and she experienced it as a liberation, and her life changed from that point on, and she experienced herself as liberated and being able to freely express her sexuality. So let's look at that point. Let's look at the point of, is pornography a human right? Should pornography exist? And because I imagine that for instance, in an equal money system, when we take away pornography, that maybe people will be making the point of, but how can you do that? That's like, control. How can you just do that? Maybe people will see that as a point of control, as like a dictatorship, that where you have people who are trying to dictate other people's behavior, and apparently depriving them of their common rights. So, for instance, like pornography, because apparently people use pornography quite a lot, and people believe that they need pornography to be able to express themselves sexually, to be able to, within masturbation, because people use pornography to masturbate, to generate a certain energy within themselves wherein they feel extremely wonderful. And obviously people then hold on to pornography as this wonderful thing that makes you feel wonderful. But okay, let's just look at the reality of pornography then. Because why would we, for instance, take away pornography and stop all pornography in an equal money system? We won't so much stop pornography as, pornography just will cease to exist because, by itself. Because a large part of the people participating in pornography are, for instance, women who just need money. Pornography today, as what we use on our computer, and the images that we see and in the videos, are very abusive towards women. And obviously women only participate within it because they need the money. And the pornography, the images, the videos, what the women have to do within pornography is becoming always more and more extreme, because people are always looking for that, higher energy, the higher energetic fix. So people always look for more and more extreme and deeper and harder and faster and more abnormal and more out of the ordinary, and always looking for this higher energy drive. So, because of the fact that we have this entire monetary system wherein you can really live out on the streets and have absolutely nothing and be desperate in search of money and have children to support, maybe, or something like that, it is like an opportunity for women to make money by selling their body to the in the pornography industry, because that's what they're doing, or as prostitutes. It's all about money. So obviously, in an equal money system, pornography will just cease to exist, because people won't have to sell themselves anymore for money. Now, there's also the point that maybe people will bring up that apparently women enjoy being porno stars, because sometimes you see women talking about it, and they seem to enjoy having sex in the movies that we watch. And there are women who say that apparently pornography is a free sexual expression, is a liberalization, liberating expression. So let's look into that point, because, for instance, the point of promiscuity and promiscuous women and girls that apparently enjoy to have sex with a lot of men and be penetrated from every angle and do the most vile, disgusting things in a sexual context, because apparently they enjoy it. And men say it, men say that, oh, but they enjoy that, they enjoy doing that, so that makes it all right. That makes it completely all right. And then you have those those porn stars who smile and say, yes, of course I enjoy it. Well, obviously they say that because, they don't want to lose their customers, so they have to constantly obviously act as if they're enjoying it, because otherwise people won't want to watch them anymore, because they're movie stars. And the point of promiscuity within women and girls within society, you have actually girls becoming more and more promiscuous, becoming more and more apparently sexually expressive, or apparently sexually liberated, as how it's called. When really the point of promiscuity is due to the fact that we, as an entire generation of teenagers, 20-year-olds, have been brought up by the pornographic industry. I mean, somewhere along the lines, every child has been confronted with these images of pornography, wherein you see a specific role that a woman is playing and a specific role that a man is playing, and the woman is always being presented as if she enjoys being abused, and as if she enjoys being penetrated by 20 men at the same time, and as if she enjoys being basically used for sexual pleasure by men, as if she enjoys that role, because pornography presents that. That's the picture and the depiction of the woman that pornography presents. And as a child, you come in contact with these images, and you are you're kind of building your personality and your identity based on what you see in your environment. So if you see pictures like that of women, you automatically go in define yourself according to those pictures, and you create a relationship with those pictures, and you believe that that is actually the role that you as a woman, as a girl, have to play in the relationship with men, which is the role of promiscuity. And then girls become promiscuous and women become promiscuous to get attention from men, because that's seen as like the highest value, to get attention from society and to get attention from men, and this seems to be the only way to get it. And because in pornography, what it does is it completely degrades women, because men always seem to abuse women in pornography. Always the women is completely degraded and pushed down in all ways and abused in all ways. And so girls watching pornography get that feeling within themselves that they are worthless, and they identify themselves with that experience of themselves and the image of being absolutely worthless as a woman. So then they go out and search, obviously, for self-value and self-worth by looking for attention, by believing that if I get attention, if I get male attention, and if men want me, then I will feel wanted and I will feel desired, so I will feel good about myself, then I will feel worthy, not realizing that this whole lack of self-worth in the first place has been programmed into them by this pornographic industry, by this, this whole industry of pornography, as the images that we all get to see during our childhood, and that we have all identified ourselves with, believing that this is reality, this is sex, this is the act of sexuality, and this is who we are apparently, this is who I am, the role I'm supposed to play, and this is who I am as a woman. So that's another consequence of pornography and the whole pornographic industry, which has shaped the role of the woman and the girl, and has shaped the identity of women today, wherein women actually believe themselves to be worthless beings, and the only way they can actually feel as if they're worth something is by gaining attention from men, and by being promiscuous, by selling their body, and by giving themselves to anyone who wants them, because that's what men want. Men want easy girls, men want easy sex, so obviously girls will then just give themselves away so they can get that positive attention from men, and they can feel desired and feel special and important. So that's one of the major screwed up consequences of the pornographic industry, as how it has evolved. And then what's crazy is that we have gone and defined ourselves according to that image that is being presented of how a woman is apparently supposed to look, and how she's supposed to move, how she's supposed to dress and behave. And then, for instance, this woman who stated that pornography to her was a liberation and was like the ultimate sexual experience, and she could finally sexually express herself, etc. That is actually like a contradiction, or not real, because that apparent free expression, that apparent free sexual expression or self-liberation isn't real self-liberation. It's a picture-based liberation. It's a picture-based illusion of liberation, because her idea of self in the first place was completely defined by pornography. Her idea of who she was as a woman, and her expression of a woman, and her expression of what she thought and believed sexuality was completely defined already by pornography. So because she identified herself with the role of the woman that she saw within pornography, and then she reacted to pornography with this this pre-programmed energy, and she believed that that is who she really is. So now she's apparently expressing herself within masturbation, and by dressing herself up to look like those porn stars, in that she's apparently expressing herself as a woman and liberating her self-expression as a woman, when in fact she is lessening herself. She's diminishing herself to only a picture, to just a picture of a woman, like a copied picture, and an energetic reaction that was completely pre-programmed and pre-designed and has nothing to do with who she actually is. Because it was all already pre-programmed by these images of pornography, as what these images dictate us, that of who we apparently are as a woman. And that's just an entirely unacceptable reality, because then girls actually go and define themselves according to what they see in pornography, and how a woman is displayed in pornography. And actually not only pornography, but if you look at a lot of movies and most of the video of the music videos on television, it's also, the image of the woman is also quite inferior and like an object, and as if she's a worthless being unless she presents herself as sexy and pleases the man, and unless she gets attention from men, she is an unworthy being or something. So that's actually what we are presented with as the apparent examples of who we are. And that's the unacceptable nature of pornography. So again, to the question of, is pornography a human right? So we have that one point of why pornography is unacceptable, as the completely twisted example that it sets for women especially, of who women apparently have to be. I mean, men as well, but women are the ones who suffer from it the most, who become then completely promiscuous and go and sell their body because they believe it's the only way they can obtain some self-value. And then we have another point of, obviously, the whole industry that it creates of sexual abuse, because pornography actually creates a lot of sexual abuse, because pornography is used within a monetary system that is not equal for all, and wherein human beings don't have the equal opportunity to express themselves as who they are, because people have to adapt to the monetary system so they can make money, and people are not at all supported by our current system. So a lot of people have to find these degrading, abusive ways to make money, like prostitution and working in the pornographic industry. And also the fact that pornography creates sexual addictions. Pornography is specifically designed to actually create and support and fuel all the possible various sexual addictions that human beings can have. And the point that you have within sexual fantasies is that it never stops, and you always go deeper in it, and you always want more and more and more, and you always become more and more twisted within your sexual fantasies, and the pornographic industry plays into it completely. The pornographic industry goes to extreme measures to make sure that human beings' desires are completely fulfilled, and that's why human beings have allowed themselves to completely define themselves according to their desires and according to this fulfillment of their desires, and they see it as a human right. They see it as something that is just, that is right, this is my right, and this is what I'm supposed to have, and this is, what I'm supposed to get because I've always gotten it, and my desires have to be fulfilled. When really we don't see the abusive nature behind the pornographic industry, we don't see what is actually happening because of the pornographic industry and because of this extensive nature of our desires that we have always just been participating within without realizing where it comes from or what consequences all our participation in pornography has on other beings and on this world. We don't realize it. We don't realize that we have become very extreme abusers, direct or indirect, within this reality because we've completely secluded and isolated ourselves from the rest of the world within our little bubble of our personal desires that have gone to extremes that are unspeakable, that are just so incredibly disgusting and twisted and disturbed that you cannot speak them. You would become an outcast of society if you would speak your sexual fantasies, because in every being they are so incredibly extreme that they are kept hidden, just like the pornographic industry is being kept hidden behind curtains in closets under beds. Just like that, the human mind and the perverted, twisted thoughts within the human mind is being covered up in all ways. In everyone has that secret pornographic, twisted, perverted reality within themselves that they cover up by presenting themselves as acceptable and nice and good and polite and loving, caring, normal, social, whatever. So we have become very twisted beings who don't even see the reality anymore, and the consequence of this whole pornographic industry that is aimed completely at pleasing our every desire is that we have become absolutely incapable of seeing what is going on in the world, of seeing what is going on in reality and with each other and ourselves. We have become completely incapable of seeing common sense and realizing the consequences of our actions and realizing what's going on around us completely, because we have allowed ourselves to be so completely consumed with our personal desires as fantasies within our minds, like absolutely consumed by it, by our personal space, our private space, believing that is who we really are, so that is apparently our human right, when really we haven't realized that this entire personality and identity as personal private space that we believe that we are is not really who we are, because it's been completely designed by pornography. It's been, who we believe ourselves to be as our hidden desires is completely designed already by pornography. It didn't come from us, it's not a natural expression of who we are. It's a pre-designed expression that only came into being, that only became a part of us when we were faced and confronted with pornographic imagery that were specifically designed to play into those specific energies. So that's not an actual natural expression of who we are. That's an induced expression. It's manipulated, induced, expression. That is not who we really are, and its foundation is complete abuse. So we're gonna have to give up our perverted desires within an equal money system to be able to implement what is best for all, instead of only what is best for me and my personal private desires and what I believe that my human rights are, which are actually completely twisted, selfish, inconsiderate personal desires that that are of complete abuse, and they're just unacceptable when you live in this reality. And you're not the only one who is here. There are so many other beings who also live here, and they're actually suffering the consequences of your participation in your selfish desires, but you're not seeing that because you're too consumed by your own desires and by your own minds. So to actually be able to see what we've created due to what we've allowed, such as pornography, we'd have to first stop our minds, as these hidden thoughts and fantasies within ourselves that have secluded us and isolated us from the actual world, and have enabled us to, or have disabled us to see what's going on in ourselves and the reality. So visit Desteni at www.desteni.co.za to find out how you can be able to stop the mind and stop all abuse within the world as within yourself, and stand up as an actual self-respecting being that considers all life equally. So, Desteni. Thanks.